Hi, this is Michelle Manu and you're watching Silk Warrior. Today I'm here at the Martial Arts History Museum in Burbank, California. It's a one-of-a-kind place. It's the only place that houses the Kaiwalu Lua, the Hawaiian martial art exhibit. So come with me as we explore the museum. I talked with Michael Matsuda of the Martial Arts History Museum. Michael told me about the origin and purpose of the museum, and he also talked about the exhibits and the exciting museum events.
Well, the museum is one of a kind, as you said earlier. It's very unique. There is no other martial arts history museum in the world. So I felt it was important that our history be kept alive. There are so many great pioneers, people that have done magnificent things, champions, founders, and more, whose history will be lost if there is not a museum. So books will fade away, be online, Facebook, all this stuff will fade away, but a museum will keep our memory alive forever and ever. So that's why I think it's very important that we have a museum to honor these individuals. The interesting part of the museum is it attracts a huge crowd. Matter of fact, 50% of the people that come here don't even do martial arts. Museum is someplace where it's educational. It's a fun place to go, and this way people will learn about our history. So people come in through the door, they have no inkling of martial arts history or background, and they come out of here learning the unique part of American history and how it changed because of the martial arts.
So we're here at the Hawaiian Arts exhibit at the museum, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the weapons that they have shown here. This is the leo manu. It's a neva. It's got shark teeth that's faced in opposite directions. The warriors used to use this to slash in both directions, not just one way. So you can see there's a place for the handle. This is used to stab, pahi or knife. This is used to block or to trap. This is used to slam and of course to slice. So we go down, and in the same manner of the leo manu and the handheld, we have the ho'e leo manu, which means ho'e's paddle. So you can see it's a longer weapon. Sometimes these are 6 to 10 feet. And so from here we have the knuckle duster. This was used by the older warriors that would come through and actually slit the throats or finish off the wounded warriors that were on the battlefield. And lastly, in this case, I want to talk about the same knuckle duster, a ku'eku-e. It is this weapon right here. This ku'eku-e, same. The shark teeth are faced out, so of course you can slice both ways. This is used to bust, to trap, to also stab, the pahi, and to slice. Okay, and it can be held this way, the way that I'm holding it, or it can be flipped and actually concealed somewhat. Okay, so same way. Always usually going for the throat or muscles. So this is the ku'eku-e and the shark teeth weapons of the Kaiwalu Lua. So what is the Hawaiian martial art called Lua? If you think of Lua or hula, are they one and the same? If you look at hula dancers and the way they move, that is Lua. Hula is the non-contact and Lua is the contact. So, the museum does an amazing job at showing depictions of warriors and how they fought, what Lua is. And it was formed in the 8th century by Kahuna Nui, which were the wise men and women of the islands. It started out as a healing art, and eventually boxing and wrestling were introduced, and that birthed the Hawaiian Lua. There are several different types of Hawaiian Lua out there, all coming from the islands, and they've reached the mainland now and now are being taught all over the world by select kumus, teachers of those different Lua art forms. This exhibit here at the museum is solely for the Kaiwalu family. The Alohe or master is Solomon Kaiwalu. It is known to be the most developed Hawaiian Lua art that's been retained from back in the day and continues to take ancestral guidelines and the foundation of the original healing art now into today's time to go ahead and be competitive against today's best athletes and also other martial arts. So I'm going to take you through now the exhibit. This is really exciting, and I'm going to start here in this first case with some of the weaponry that were once used. So we used, of course, braided palm leaves, braided coconut bark from the tree. We used bark, also pohakus, which are stones, and also did braid to make the most deadly weapon that was never defeated on the island by King Kamehameha's troops was the ma'a, which is the slingshot. So right here, as you'll see, the different nevas, handheld, pahi or knife. So it's a club / knife. Same with this. So it's tree bark. This is the ma'a, the slingshot. And they were experts at this weapon, just like they were experts at the longbow, which was 6 to 10 feet long. I mean, expert spear throwers with that. And the pohaku, the different types of lava rock or sea rock that they would use. Panning over here, we have different nevas, which is from bamboo or different types of trees in Hawaii. This one right here with the double points actually signifies an iwi. It's actually bone from an animal or from another human that would be a little bit shorter. It would fit the warrior's hands where the points would actually just protrude just past. And so if you look at the New Zealand warriors where they have paddles such as this that is made out of whale bone and is shaped so sharply that it can actually cut through someone's bones in a battle, this iwi, this point to point, if it was bone, would have the same effect. So again, some more bark that's carved into a pahi or a knife. This right here, this little piece, almost like a small iwi with the strangling cord, this is called the ka'ane. This technique was what the grandmothers, the tutus, used in the river to go ahead and wash their clothing. They were practicing their strangulation techniques. This is a highly, highly effective weapon and discarded mostly by the Western U.S. as looking like anything like a weapon. And I think the element of surprise is what makes this weapon so effective and keeping your opponent to you, like lua, absorbing your opponent. So going outside. There. If I hear this, it's wrong. I don't want to hear it. I want to hear that, okay? So bear, hit. They should drop the knife. If they don't, that's okay. Shuffle in. Leg his chest. Okay, so let's try that. So I'm going to pan up now up to here, to the wall. We have the ko'opokole, which is the long staff that I told you they were experts at throwing out in the field. Very accurate. This is the ho'e. The ho'e has different types of shapes. This is the traditional, and of course, picture shark teeth, or this can be actually flatter and a little bit longer, with or without shark teeth. To bust, to slice, like just a regular bow, and to trap. Okay, and then in the Kai'awa, if you were ever to see a kumu or a black belt do techniques with the ho'e, you know, different other martial arts use the paddle and they hit the weapon. In Hawaiian, we actually hit the family. So this would be the kids and the grandkids. We actually will use another weapon to bust what's holding the weapon. So ho'e, very, very, very effective. The maka pahoa here, maka means eyes. This was originally devised to, of course, puncture through the eyes, go through your opponent and into the ground. This is to bust, this is to trap. This was modeled after your hand. So if you can see here, if we were to fight, we'd bring in our opponent by the neck using our hand. This is the same thing. Bust, wrist trap, bring it back up straight to your opponent's eyes. The maka pahoa is great. You can actually extend this a little bit longer and make a ka'ane, a strangling cord as well. Another dagger, a pahi. This can also have shark teeth. This is beautiful. This looks like it's out of koa. Same, brutal. This is what the New Zealand paddles used to look like, but they're made out of whale bone and extremely sharp. So light enough but heavy enough to do damage. Single double stick. We've got the ko'opokole, which is the actual short staff with, of course, the pahi on each side. Same single-edged dagger. Single-edged dagger has the ka'ane that's usually attached. This is for strangulation. Once you absorb your opponent and take them to the ground and use the ground to bust them, this will go in the spine as this is being pulled up. So you're choking and puncturing at the same time. And so this is the Kaivalu Lua exhibit here at the museum. And this is Solomon Kaivalu, the Elohe of the Kaivalu Lua, and the Lua Halau o Kaivalu. And he is also my Elohe.
I myself began the martial arts back in the 60s. Back then, the only art was judo, really. And it was through that experience I got into karate and then kung fu. And then I started writing for the magazines, and I had my own magazine for many years. But I felt that it was more important. Magazines come and go. You know, next month's issue, nobody remembers who was on the last cover. So I felt it was important that we have a facility, a place that we can look back for many, many years and keep that history alive. As Cecil Peoples once told me, I want my great-great-grandkids to see what their grandfather did. So having a museum, having people's belts and uniforms and different things like that keeps that history alive. You know, so many people faced prejudice and racism when they brought the art to America. Having martial arts became our common denominator. So now other people, non-Asians, were now beginning to learn martial arts. So it was combining the cultures. And that's what the museum does. It bridges that gap of understanding. So by having different artifacts, and especially talking about China, the history of China, the history of Japan, history of the samurai, people can learn about their past or other people's past and have a better understanding. The museum is open from Thursday through Sunday, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. We do a lot of events. Again, twice a month, different things happening at the events, new items always coming in, special workshops. We do CPR classes, we do sword demonstrations, we do a lot of things. A History Channel comes and we do a history of the samurai, and we even have a time where people can bring in their samurai sword and we can tell them if it's real or fake. So we do a lot of interesting things you will never see anywhere else. The museum is the best place to do that. So I hope to encourage people to come and visit the museum. Our website is mamuseum.com. Our phone number is 818-478-1722. But I know people will enjoy the museum. It's a nonprofit organization and completely supported by donations and memberships.
Thank you for joining us today here at the Martial Arts History Museum. The next time you're in the Los Angeles area, I encourage you to stop by and come and visit the museum and donate. This is such an amazing place. You can actually also visit their gift shop too and get one of these. We'll see you next time.